For a long time, Egyptologists entertained a number of rather far-fetched theories explaining how the granite beams in the king's chamber came to crack. Some have suggested that the architects hadn't originally foreseen placing so many beams. When the first ceiling cracked, they would have envisaged a second ceiling, and then a third, and so on, improvising this very unusual construction. Other pyramid specialists have said that because of the cracks, Khufu's body could not have been interred within the potentially dangerous chamber.
How did these beams crack? A good many ideas have been put forward on the subject. Some suggest it was due to the Egyptians' incompetence, which means that they built a first ceiling which cracked, then they built a second ceiling which cracked, and then four, then finally some guy has the brilliant idea of rafters. And that's really what seemed to me the most unacceptable thing.
Dassault Systèmes analysis has put an end to this speculation. It has revealed when and at what stage of the construction the beams actually cracked.
We decided to simulate the construction of the king's chamber step by step, adding one ceiling after the other, looking at the effect of the weight of the structure on itself to see if it was the chamber's own weight, being too heavy, that would have caused everything to crack. So you can see that with each step, we've amplified and exaggerated the movement so we can see something. This is obviously granite, and it just doesn't do that. Here we have the complete king's chamber with the rafters. We look at the effects of the weight, but we still can't make it crack. And then we remembered that there was actually 83 meters of masonry above the top of the king's chamber. We simulated the weight of that masonry, and we saw that it caused the rafters to open up slightly, transmitting the weight of the pyramid onto the king's chamber. The levels of strain are a little higher, as we're at the green level, but we're still a long way from the breaking point.
He then adds this slight subsidence of the chamber's southern wall, and finally, the rafters crack.
We collapse the south side, the rafters open up, and look here.
We get the cracks.
On the first three ceilings, red, red, and red. The red means we're at the granite's breaking point.
The first ceiling must have cracked at around the end of the 18th year, and the other ceilings cracked in succession over 6 to 8 month periods.
And so the pyramid was almost finished when the beams cracked.
We went even further and simulated more substantial subsidence. We observed that at that point all the beams broke clean through. So what happens? As the pyramid squeezes the king's chamber, even when they're broken, the beams stay in place.
In any case, they chose granite because they incorporated that compression.
Exactly, so the Egyptians really wanted to design a chamber for eternity.
For eternity, and it's still there.
4,500 years later, it's still there.
We have a pyramid 147 meters high, with 2 to 3 centimeters subsidence over 147 meters. In any living room or any building site, with a floor maybe 5 meters across, you might get a difference of 5 centimeters between one side and the other. So here we can really see that the Egyptians were working with a precision and a quality of work that was quite extraordinary. To summarize, this study shows that for the king's chamber, there's absolutely no improvisation.